You have exactly 7 seconds to prove you aren't a liability. And, I mean, that is not a guess. That's not some exaggeration. It's just basic human psychology.
It really is.
By the time you've, cleared your throat, shifted your weight, and just said your name, your brand new coworkers have already decided whether or not they can trust you.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality, but it's entirely true. The spotlight clicks on and, well, the clock is instantly ticking.
Right. So picture this scenario. It's your very first day at a brand new office.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You've picked out the perfect outfit. You have your fresh notebook. You are sitting there in the meeting room, and everything seems to be going totally fine.
Until it isn't.
Exactly. Because then your manager turns to you. The entire room just goes completely quiet. Every single person is looking right at you. And the manager says, hey, why don't you introduce yourself to the team?
That is the exact moment the heart rate just spikes.
Oh, absolutely. Suddenly your mind just goes completely blank.
Yeah, total brain freeze.
I mean, you know what you want to say in your head. You know your own name, obviously.
Right, cool.
But the words just refuse to come out the way you want them to. You start fumbling, and there's this awful, heavy silence. You honestly just want the floor to open up and swallow you whole.
It's the worst.
It is. I can laugh about it now, sitting here. But that first day spotlight is genuinely terrifying.
It is a deeply universal feeling, honestly. That sudden panic of having all these clear thoughts in your head, but completely losing access to them the second you have to speak out loud in front of a group.
So true. So if you are listening to this right now and you've ever felt that cold sweat, you are in exactly the right place today.
You really are.
For this deep dive, we are looking at a highly practical, comprehensive guide. It's designed specifically to help freshers, college students, or really anyone starting a new job, confidently introduce themselves in English in any office setting.
And our goal today is to give you a very specific tool from this material. It's a foolproof 5-step framework.
Right. The mission of this deep dive is to show you exactly how this framework just eliminates that first day awkwardness. It prevents you from fumbling your words and guarantees a clear, professional introduction every single time. And we are going to take this incredibly slow today. We want this to be deliberate because we know you are learning and we want to completely avoid any information overload.
Exactly. Nice and slow.
Now, I think most of us assume we have like a few minutes to win people over on that first day, right? We think we can slowly warm them up.
Yeah, people always assume they have time.
But as we just mentioned, the window is staggeringly small. Let's look at exactly how much time you actually have.
Right. And this is where the psychology gets very real. First impressions are formed within just 7 seconds of meeting someone new.
Wow.
7 seconds. That is literally all you get.
7 seconds. I mean, that just feels so unbelievably fast.
It is.
When people talk about pitching yourself in business, they usually call it an elevator pitch, which implies you have the length of an elevator ride. But 7 seconds. That is not an elevator pitch.
No, not at all.
That is like a doorway pitch.
Yeah.
You're basically just walking through the door. Is it really just 7 seconds? Because that feels like barely enough time to even register what room you are in, let alone prove you are a trustworthy professional.
What's fascinating here is the evolutionary psychology behind those 7 seconds. It goes way back to how our brains are wired for survival.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When a group encounters a new person, the brain immediately stands for threat versus safety.
No, they're literally sizing me up as a threat.
Subconsciously, yes. In a modern office environment, you are not being judged on your entire life story in that tiny window. Instead, people are forming an immediate impression based on how you carry yourself and the tone of your opening lines.
Okay, so they aren't evaluating my whole resume. What exactly are they judging in those first few moments?
They are looking for 3 vital things. Number 1 is your level of confidence.
Okay.
Number 2 is your general professionalism. And number 3, which is actually the most important, is whether you can be trusted with responsibilities.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. A self-introduction is not just reciting your name and your job title. It's a highly specific social cue that tells the group, I am a capable person and I am safe to work with.
And I think the most reassuring part of all this is that creating this impression is a completely learnable skill.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not some innate magical talent that extroverts are just born with. You can learn exactly how to do this.
Yes, anyone can.
And since we know we only have those 7 quick seconds, we need a reliable structure so our brains don't just freeze up.
Exactly. When the nerves hit, your working memory basically just shuts down. Structure acts as a safety net.
Okay, let's unpack this. The material lays out a very clear five-part framework called the NEPSE formula. That is NEPSE.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to go through this nice and slow, piece by piece, because this is really the core of getting it right.
Let's start with the foundation. The first three letters are N, E, and P.
So the N simply stands for name.
Right.
Now, this sounds incredibly basic, but there is a major trap right out of the gate. The rule is to keep it wonderfully simple. You just say, "Hi, everyone. My name is Rahul Sharma," or "Good morning. I am Priya Verma."
Simple and clean.
But there is a very crucial, very common grammar mistake to avoid here. You should never, ever start by saying, "Myself, Rahul."
Yes, this is such an incredibly common error. You hear it particularly in Indian English, but really it happens everywhere when people get nervous.
Yeah, why do we do that?
Well, people default to saying my self-name because they are desperately trying to sound polite or humble or maybe overly formal.
Right. It is like this nervous hypercorrection. You're trying so hard to sound like a sophisticated professional that you end up tangling the grammar instead of just being clear and direct.
Precisely. In standard English, the word myself is a reflexive pronoun. It is used for emphasis or when you are the object of your own action.
Not for introducing yourself.
Right. Not for introducing your core identity to a room. Saying, my name is Priya, or simply, I am Priya, is not only grammatically correct, it actually projects much more quiet confidence.
Simple is always better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have established your name. Now we need to establish your background, which brings us to the E.
Right.
That stands for education or experience. The golden rule here is brevity. Keep it very short.
Very short.
We are talking 1, maybe 2 sentences maximum. If you are a complete fresher, you might say, "I recently completed my bachelor's in commerce from Delhi University."
Perfect.
Or, if you've had an internship, you could say, "I completed my MBA from Amity University and recently did a 6-month marketing internship at HDFC Bank."
Now, this raises an important question, though, for listeners who are students who have literally never set foot in a corporate office before.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was thinking. If I am a student with 0 office experience, isn't just naming my degree going to sound a bit thin?
It feels that way to you, yeah.
Especially if I am sitting in a room full of people who've been working there for 5 or 10 years.
I get that. It feels inadequate to you because you are comparing your starting line to their middle of the race.
Right.
But it doesn't sound thin to them at all. If you are a fresher, your degree is your experience right now.
That's a great point.
The audience already knows you are new. They aren't expecting a 10-page resume. The psychological goal of this step is just to give them a mental bucket to put you in. They just want a quick, clear snapshot of your background.
That is a massive relief, honestly. Just state your degree clearly and proudly.
Exactly.
Then we move to the P. The P stands for position. This is where you explain your new role so people understand how they will actually interact with you.
Right.
For example, I have joined as a sales executive in business development, or I am a software trainee working closely with the product team.
This step is purely practical. The human brain loves categorization.
Oh, for sure.
By explicitly stating your position, you immediately help the people in the room understand where you fit into the ecosystem of the office.
So let's look at what we have built so far. You have told them who you are with your name, you established your credibility with your education, and you explained your role with your position.
You are officially introduced.
Right. But how do you actually make them want to work with you? How do you become memorable?
That's the trick.
That brings us to the final 2 letters of the NEPSE formula.
The S and the E.
So the S stands for strength or skill. Now, the rule here is incredibly strict. You have to pick one key relevant strength.
Just one.
Do not list 3. Do not list 5. Just one. For example, you might say you have strong communication skills because you thrive on client interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could say you are highly detail-oriented because of your background in data science coursework.
Now, limiting yourself to just one single skill is incredibly difficult for people to do, but it is absolutely essential.
It really is, because I see the exact opposite happen all the time. Someone gets nervous, stands up, and just starts rapid-firing adjectives.
Oh yeah, the laundry list.
Exactly. I am hardworking, sincere, punctual, highly creative, a great team player, quick learner. It's exhausting to listen to.
It really is.
It's like throwing a bowl of spaghetti at the wall just hoping one noodle sticks. Imagine the listener's memory in those first 7 seconds is like a strip of Velcro. They only have enough available loops in their brain to catch one clear hook.
I love that analogy.
Right. If you throw a dozen hooks at them all at once, they all just bounce off, and the person remembers absolutely nothing about you.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of cognitive load, that Velcro analogy is spot on. When you overwhelm a room with a laundry list of generic skills, you trigger fatigue in the listener.
Yeah, their eyes just glaze over.
Exactly. But if you carefully select one single, highly relevant skill, it becomes an anchor. It creates a focused, memorable identity.
It shows you have self-awareness. And finally, we reach the last letter, the E. This stands for excitement.
This is a great way to close.
It really is. This is your closing note. You want to end the introduction with genuine, warm enthusiasm. You simply say something like, I am really excited to be a part of this team, and I look forward to learning from all of you.
The psychology of this ending is called the halo effect. That one simple sentence leaves a lingering, positive warmth. You are signaling that you aren't just a worker bee, You are going to be a positive, pleasant presence in their daily work lives.
Okay, so the formula makes logical sense. Name, education, position, strength, excitement. But what does it actually sound like in the real world?
Let's look at some examples.
Yeah, because here's where it gets really interesting. This framework is not rigid. You have to adjust it based on the threat level of the room you're in. Let's look at how this changes depending on the specific scenario.
The environmental context changes everything. Let's walk slowly through 3 distinct real-world examples.
Okay, scenario 1. The team introduction on your very first day. You are in a room full of your peers. Let's use the example of a marketing associate named Ananya Singh.
Okay.
Her script sounds like this.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ananya Singh. I have recently completed my bachelor's in business administration from Symbiosis. I have joined as a marketing associate in this team. I have a strong interest in digital marketing and content creation. I am really thrilled to be a part of such a talented team, and I look forward to contributing with all of you.
Now that is a brilliant execution. It hits every letter perfectly.
It really flows well.
It does. It's warm. It highlights her specific interest in content creation. That is her one Velcro hook. And it ends with excellent collaborative energy.
It is comprehensive, but it still fits well within our short time window.
Exactly.
Now let's shift the environment. Scenario 2, a one-on-one introduction with your manager. The energy required here is completely different.
Very different. It is just you and the boss. Let's use Vikram Nair, a software trainee. He says, Hi, good morning. I am Vikram Nair. I have just joined as a software trainee. I completed my B.Tech in computer science last year and worked on a specific machine learning project. I am very keen to learn how things work here, and I am ready to take on challenges from day one.
Notice the subtle shift in tone there. It is much more direct and conversational.
Yeah, less formal.
Right. Sitting across from a manager, you don't want to sound like you are giving a speech to an auditorium. He mentions his machine learning project as his specific strength and immediately pivots to showing readiness to work. It is perfectly calibrated for a manager's ears.
Exactly. It feels more like a confident professional handshake than a presentation. And then we have scenario 3, which is the reality for so many of us now. The virtual office introduction on a Google Meet or a Zoom call. Our example here is Sneha Kapoor, a finance analyst. She unmutes and says, Hi, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Great. My name is Sneha Kapoor, and I have just joined as a finance analyst. I am coming to you from Hyderabad. I completed my CA intermediate recently and have a strong background in budgeting. I am really excited to be a part of this team, even virtually, and I hope to meet each one of you in person soon.
Adapting the formula for the digital workspace requires a few extra social cues, which she handles perfectly.
I always have to laugh at the "can you hear me clearly" part.
Oh, we all do.
It is that universal awkward Zoom dance we all have to do, just waiting for the thumbs up. But noticing her script, she explicitly mentions her physical location. She says she is in Hyderabad.
Right.
Why add that? If we only have those precious few seconds, isn't mentioning your city just wasting time on unnecessary small talk?
It might seem like filler, but in a virtual environment, it serves a critical psychological purpose. Yes, remote work is inherently isolating. When you are just a flat, pixelated face in a tiny box on a screen, it is hard for people to connect with you. Mentioning your physical location grounds you in reality.
Oh, wow.
It breaks the digital ice and reminds the audience that there is a real, breathing human being sitting in a real room somewhere. It accelerates the trust-building process.
That makes profound sense. It humanizes you. So we have the formula, and we have the scripts adapted for different rooms. We know exactly the words to say.
But there's a catch.
There is a major problem. Even the most perfectly written script will completely fail if your body language and your physical delivery betray you. Let's look at the biggest physical traps that freshers fall into under pressure.
Yes. Knowing what to say is only half the battle. Your body has to align with your words. Let's examine the common delivery mistakes and the physiological reasons behind them.
Mistake number one is probably the most common, speaking way too fast.
Oh, yeah.
I will fully confess, I fall into the speed talking trap all the time when I am nervous. It's like my mouth is trying to outrun the introduction just so I can sit back down and be invisible again.
What's fascinating here is the biology of that impulse. When all eyes are on you, your brain interprets the spotlight as a literal threat.
Like a predator.
Exactly. It triggers a mild fight-or-flight response. Your adrenaline spikes and your brain screams, "Escape!" So you rush your words to make the threatening situation end faster, but speaking fast makes you sound frantic and unsure of yourself.
So how do we override our own biology?
The physical fix is incredibly simple but highly effective. Take one deep, intentional breath before you speak your first word.
Just one breath.
Yes, that breath forces your heart rate to slow down. Then you must consciously force yourself to speak at what feels like 70% of your normal conversational speed.
70%. Honestly, when you actually try doing that, it feels unnaturally, awkwardly slow to you in your own head.
It feels slow to you because your internal clock is racing from adrenaline. But to the audience sitting in the room, it sounds perfectly measured, calm, and clear. Pausing naturally makes you sound thoughtful.
Okay, one deep breath, drop to 70% speed. Now, mistake number 2 and 3 we have basically covered, but they bear repeating because they just ruin credibility. Mistake 2 is saying my self-name. We know that is a grammar trap.
Right.
Mistake 3 is listing too many skills. Remember the Velcro analogy. Give them only one hook to remember. But let's move to mistake number 4, which is purely physical. A lack of eye contact.
This is huge. When the nerves hit, people instinctively look down at their notebooks, they stare at the floor, or if they're on a video call, they stare directly at their own little video feed instead of looking into the camera lens.
Looking at your own face on Zoom is such a hard habit to break.
It really is.
But when you are in a physical room, staring at the floor just screams insecurity.
This is another evolutionary response. Looking down and avoiding eye contact is a subconscious submission gesture. It is your body's way of signaling to the room, I am not a threat, please don't look at me. But in a professional setting, you want to signal that you are a competent peer. Looking people in the eye, or looking directly into the camera lens, immediately establishes equality and confidence.
That shifts the dynamic entirely from submissive to collaborative.
Exactly.
And finally, mistake number 5, forgetting to smile. It sounds so wonderfully simple, but under the pressure of the spotlight, your facial muscles just freeze into a mask of pure terror.
A genuine smile is the ultimate disarming tool. It makes you instantly approachable. Even if your English isn't perfect or you stumble on a word, a warm smile communicates that you are genuinely happy to be joining the team, which forgives a lot of minor errors.
So we know the formula, we know the scripts, and we know the physical traps. But knowing all of this intellectually doesn't help you when the adrenaline hits.
Not at all.
You have to build the physical muscle memory so you don't completely freeze when the manager actually calls your name. Here's exactly how you train your brain to do this automatically.
The training process requires a very specific, solitary 7-day action plan.
Yes, and the steps are very clear. Step 1, open a physical notebook or the Notes app on your phone. Write down your highly customized introduction using the NIEPSE framework. Name, education, position, one's strength, and excitement. Write it out word for word.
Okay.
Step 2, stand alone in front of a mirror and say it out loud 3 times. And step 3, set up your phone, hit record, and film yourself delivering it.
And the commitment here is that you must do this every single day for 1 full week, 7 days in a row.
Wait, I really have to push back on this.
Okay.
Writing it down and practicing in a mirror makes total sense. But recording a video of myself every single day for a week?
Yeah.
Just for an introduction that lasts maybe 15 seconds?
I know, it sounds like a lot.
That sounds like absolute overkill. Honestly, won't practicing it that obsessively just make me overthink it and sound like a rigid robot on the actual day?
It is a totally fair concern, and yes, watching yourself on video is agonizing for most people. But this raises an important question about how we perceive ourselves versus reality.
Oh, so?
We all have an illusion in our heads of what we think we look and sound like. The phone recording is the only way to get raw, objective feedback.
So it forces me to confront reality.
Exactly. When you watch the video, you can objectively measure yourself. Are you actually speaking at that slow 70% speed, or are you still rushing? Are you actually looking at the camera lens, or are your eyes darting away?
That makes sense.
And most importantly, are you actually smiling, or does your face just look tense? By day 7, you won't sound like a robot. You will have completely internalized the rhythm.
Wow.
Your confidence won't rely on hoping you have good English that day. Your confidence will come from the absolute certainty of the structure you have practiced.
Structure replaces fear with certainty. That is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? Let's do a slow, simple recap of the journey we just took.
Let's do it.
First, respect the 7-second window. That is how fast the brain decides if you're credible. Second, rely on the NEPSE framework. Name, education, position, one single strength, and genuine excitement. Third, adapt the tone of that script depending on whether you are talking to a room full of peers, sitting across from your boss, or navigating a virtual call. Fourth, override your fight-or-flight response by taking a deep breath and speaking at 70% speed.
Crucial step.
And finally, commit to the awkwardness of that 7-day phone recording practice.
It is a complete behavioral toolkit for a very specific high-pressure moment.
It really is. And I want to remind everyone listening that true, unshakable confidence is built slowly, one practice sentence at a time.
Yes.
By preparing this simple framework now, you guarantee that you will never be caught completely off guard. When that terrifying first-day spotlight swings your way, you won't be left fumbling for words. Your muscle memory will just take over.
You will project exactly the capable, trustworthy, professional identity that you want them to see.
But I want to leave you with one final, broader thought to ponder today. We have spent this entire time talking strictly about using this NPSE formula to survive your first day at a new office. But think about the underlying psychology we discussed. What if you applied a slightly looser version of this framework entirely outside of work? What if you used this structure at a casual networking event, or even when you are just meeting new acquaintances at a dinner party?
It is an incredibly versatile way to manage social anxiety.
Right. How much more memorable could all of your first impressions become in everyday life if you approach them not with panic, but with this kind of intentional, calm, structured identity building?
It's a game changer.
Think about the power of that the next time you walk into a crowded room and someone smiles and says, "Hey, why don't you introduce yourself?"
You will know exactly what to do with those 7 seconds.
You absolutely will. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Take that structure, practice in front of your phone, and go own your introduction.